You don't lack confidence, you lack control. And until you understand that difference, you'll keep trying to fix the wrong problem. Most men think their issue is confidence. They think they need to speak louder, stand taller, act bolder, take more risks. But confidence without control is just intensity. And intensity is unstable. The real reason people don't take you seriously is not because you're insecure. It's because you're inconsistent. Confidence is external expression. Control is internal stability. And stability is what creates authority. You can fake confidence for a moment. You cannot fake control under pressure. When someone challenges you, do you stay composed? Or does your tone shift? When someone disrespects you, do you remain calm? Or do you escalate? When plans change, do you adapt? Or do you react emotionally? That's not a confidence issue. That's a control issue. Confidence is how you appear when things go well. Control is how you behave when they don't. And people measure you in chaos, not comfort. This is why some men look confident, but still don't command respect. They talk well, they dress well, they posture well. But the moment tension appears, their composure cracks. They explain too much. They defend too quickly. They react too fast. And that reaction reveals something: lack of control. Authority is not built on boldness. It's built on regulation. If your emotions move easily, your presence moves easily. And anything that moves easily is hard to respect. Control means you don't rush your responses. You don't mirror aggression. You don't fill silence out of discomfort. You don't prove yourself under pressure. Control creates weight. Confidence creates visibility. Weight creates respect. Visibility creates attention. Attention is not authority. Most men chase attention. Very few build control. Control is boring. It's repetition. It's routine. It's discipline. It's emotional restraint. But emotional restraint is power. If someone can trigger you, they can move you. And if they can move you, they can position you. Positioned men don't lead rooms. Stable men do. The man with control doesn't need to impress. He doesn't need to win every exchange. He doesn't need to dominate conversation. Because he knows something. When your internal state is stable, external chaos cannot reduce you. That stability is felt. And what is felt is respected. In the next part, we'll break down how lack of control silently destroys authority, even when you look confident on the outside. Lack of control rarely looks dramatic. It looks small, subtle, almost invisible. That's why most men don't notice it. You think you're confident, you speak clearly, you hold eye contact, you stand straight. But then pressure appears, and something shifts. Your tone changes slightly. You start explaining more than necessary. You defend before being attacked. You react before thinking. That micro shift is everything. Authority is lost in micro movements. When someone interrupts you and you rush to finish faster, you lost control. When someone challenges you and your breathing changes, you lost control. When someone disrespects you and you escalate emotionally, you lost positioning. Control is not suppression. It's regulation. It's the ability to choose your reaction instead of being owned by it. Most men confuse emotional intensity with strength. But intensity is unstable. Control is stable. And stability builds hierarchy. If your emotional state fluctuates easily, people subconsciously categorize you as reactive. Reactive men are predictable. Predictable men are manageable. Manageable men are not respected. Think about this. If someone knows they can trigger you with a comment, they hold leverage over you. If someone knows they can rush you by increasing pressure, they control tempo. If someone knows you need validation after speaking, they own your positioning. That's not a confidence issue. That's internal instability. Authority requires emotional neutrality under tension. When others get louder, you slow down. When others escalate, you remain steady. When others panic, you regulate. That contrast builds psychological weight, and weight commands space. There's another layer most men miss. Lack of control also shows in impatience. Interrupting, talking over people, trying to dominate conversation to secure status. That behavior screams insecurity. True control allows silence. True control allows pause. True control allows disagreement without collapse. If your ego gets activated in every exchange, you are not leading interactions. You are surviving them. Authority does not survive. It governs. And governance starts internally. You cannot lead a room if you cannot lead your impulses. You cannot command respect if your emotions command you. In the next part, we'll break down exactly how to build real control. Not fake calm, but disciplined emotional authority. Control is not a personality trait. It's trained. And most men never train it. They train muscles, they train skills, they train confidence, but they don't train regulation. And regulation is power. If you want control, start here. Slow your reactions, not your speech, your reactions. When something irritates you, don't answer immediately. Let the emotion rise and fall. That gap is control. Most men collapse that gap. They react instantly. Instant reaction equals emotional ownership. Whoever triggers you controls you. Control begins when you delay response. Second, lower your baseline intensity. Many men walk into rooms with too much energy, trying to be noticed, trying to be dominant, trying to signal presence. Real presence does not try. It stabilizes. Reduce unnecessary gestures. Reduce unnecessary explanations. Reduce unnecessary emotional display. The less noise you create, the heavier your words become. Third, control your breathing under pressure. It sounds simple. But breathing is the first thing that shifts when tension appears. Faster breathing equals loss of composure. Slower breathing equals regained positioning. If you can regulate breath, you can regulate tone. If you regulate tone, you regulate the room. Fourth, detach from winning interactions. Control is impossible if your ego is involved in every exchange. You don't need to win every argument. You don't need to dominate every conversation. You don't need to correct every mistake. The man who reacts to everything is owned by everything. The man who chooses his battles builds authority. Fifth, build discipline outside of social situations. Control in conversation comes from control in life. If you can't control sleep, diet, training, focus, you won't control emotion under stress. Physical discipline builds neurological stability. Stability builds composure. Composure builds influence. This is why discipline and control are connected. Confidence is surface. Control is structure. Structure makes you immovable, and immovable men don't need to raise their voice. When you walk into a room with internal order, people sense it. They test less. They interrupt less. They escalate less. Because escalation doesn't move you, control makes you heavy. And heavy presence changes dynamics without effort. Confidence is visible. Authority is felt. And most men spend years polishing what is visible while neglecting what is felt. You can look confident. You can speak confidently. You can perform confidence. But authority is tested in silence. When things go wrong, when tension rises, when someone challenges you publicly, when pressure increases unexpectedly, that's when confidence often cracks, and control reveals itself. Visible confidence is about expression. Invisible authority is about regulation. Confidence says, I believe in myself. Control says, I control myself. and the second one is heavier. People don't follow the loudest man. They follow the most stable one. Stability creates psychological safety, and safety creates alignment. If your energy spikes under stress, people instinctively hesitate. If your tone shifts emotionally, people subconsciously downgrade your positioning. But when your state remains stable regardless of external pressure, something different happens. People begin adjusting to you. They slow down. They lower their tone. They think before pushing, because your reaction is no longer predictable. And unpredictability under control creates psychological respect. The man who cannot be moved easily cannot be reduced easily. Authority grows when others realize that emotional tactics do not work on you. Raising voice doesn't work. Provocation doesn't work. Pressure doesn't work. And once those tactics fail, influence shifts. Here's the hard truth. If someone can control your mood, they control your authority. If someone can destabilize your state, they destabilize your positioning. That's why control is power. Not because it looks impressive, because it makes you unshakable. Unshakable men don't chase attention. They don't compete for dominance. They don't escalate to prove strength. They remain. And remaining under pressure is rare. Rare behavior commands attention. Attention becomes respect. Respect becomes authority. Control is quiet. But it is absolute. It shows in how you pause, in how you respond, in how you choose silence, in how you hold tension without collapsing. Confidence can be learned quickly. Control must be built slowly, through discipline, through repetition, through standards that don't fluctuate. And once control becomes your baseline, confidence stops being performance. It becomes natural, because you no longer rely on emotion to feel strong. You rely on structure, and structure cannot be shaken easily. That is why you don't lack confidence. You lack control. Build control, and confidence will follow. Build control, and authority will stabilize. Build control, and people will listen before you even speak.